Hi, hello, namaste, hearty, welcome to yet another interesting class. So glad to see you. I'm so happy that you are being very consistent. I think you deserve a good round of applause for being consistent. As I always say, consistency is the mother of mastery. So make sure you're always consistent. So today, I wanted to talk to you about this 10 tactics of being a genius. There are 10 tactics, but given the content that we are going to study today, the technical content, the EA subject, I felt we will restrict ourselves only to 5 tactics for today. Okay, hope that is fine, and probably in the next class we'll take up another 5 tactics. Yeah. So the first one here that I wanted to talk is about tight bubble of total focus. What Robin Sharma means to say is, whatever work you're working on, make sure that you have absolute focus on that. Absolute focus. So he calls something called as monomaniacal focus. It's like single-minded. And I think especially when you're with your favorite person, or when you're meditating on your faith, or when you're trying to study something and trying to understand the concept at a deeper level, you should go on a digital fast. You should go on a digital fast. So make sure that your mobile or your social media doesn't curtail or disrupt your attention. Okay, so make sure that you have tight bubble. That's how he calls it, tight bubble of total focus. So make sure you have absolute focus on whatever you're doing. In Sanskrit they say Shraddha, right? That could also be faith, that could also be focus. So make sure that you focus. Okay, next, the 90-91 rule. What is it? 90-91 rule, isn't it unique? Yeah. So what the author says is, just like how we have our 20-20-20 rule, I'm sure most of you are following that, and I keep getting messages also. Thank you very much for that. That progressively you can increase that 20-20-20 to 40-40-40 or 30-30-30. But that's a habit that the author wanted to inculcate. Okay, so make sure that you move, you reflect, you grow. Like what we said, exercise, educate, and then plan your day. Next, so here the 90-91 rule, what the author says is, for the first 90 minutes of your day, once you complete your 20-20-20 and you're in your regular routine, the first 90 minutes of the day, you should work on your number one task. And when you do this for the next 90 days, let's say you're planning to study for EA, okay, and our each class is like 90 minutes. Sometimes it may go to 2 hours, based on the topic. So let's call that, okay, let's believe that your focus is on completing EA, okay, studying for EA. Okay, so the 90 days, 90 minutes, the first 90 minutes, you are working on your number one task, and do that for 90 days, you become a genius. You become a game changer in your industry, right? That's what he tries to say. Next one, once you have done this task, okay, what the author says is, you should work on 60-10 method. 60-10 method. What does this mean? Okay, it means for every 60 minutes of work, take 10 minutes of break. Unfortunately, some of the work ethics have so evolved that when the boss is not around, or when the manager is not around, they work for 10 minutes and they take a break for 60 minutes. So it's the other way around. Okay, so it shouldn't be like that. Okay, don't fool yourself. Is that okay? Yeah. When you're young, give in your best. Use your time to research. Use your time to connect with good people. Use your time to learn from people's experiences. Use your time to engage in something that makes you a better person. As I always say, try to become a better human being. And then next one, the author says daily 5 concept. Okay, so I love these things. I really love these things, and I try as much as possible to practice. And as my students and as my family members, or my friends also, I keep sharing these things because these things are like realistic. Say religious books and all, they tell us what to do, what not to do, right? It's like telling what is good, what is evil or bad, what is holy, what is unholy, things like that. But it is only a proven mentor who will tell you how of what you have to do and why of what you have to do. Okay, and I want to be one of those people, and I want you also to become one of those people for your family, for your team, and for the society at large. So daily 5 concepts. So what does he mean? So what the author says is, list out your top 5 tasks for the day. Top 5 tasks for the day, and make sure that you call them victories, small victories. So let's say your EA class, your exercise, your work, I mean whatever, your other hobby. Let's say you're learning a musical instrument or anything like that. Now spending time with your family is not a to-do. Okay, that's your bloody responsibility. That's your responsibility. Okay, so don't add that in your to-dos. Okay, anything that makes you a better person, your task, your responsibilities are not your to-dos. Are you getting it? It's your responsibility. Family is your responsibility. So don't add family thing into to-dos. Okay, so 5 to-dos, 5 tasks. So add that. So 5 to-dos, 5 victories. So what the author says is, if you do the same thing, repeatedly for the next 30 days, it means you would have done, 150 tasks, 150 victories you would have done. And you do the same thing in a year, you would have done like 1800 tasks or victories. Isn't that a great number? Maybe it may also lead to, 2000 tasks. And next, the 5th one, the last one for today. He says, the second wind workout. See, normally, exercising, for just an hour a day itself is a tough thing, wearing those gym clothes or those running shoes and, going for a brisk walk itself is a tough thing for most of them. But what Robin Sharma says is, you should do daily 2 workouts. One in the morning, the 20-20-20 rule workout, and then again the second one is on the second wind workout at the end of the day. It could be a cardio, it could be treadmill, cross trainer, or body weight training. It could be anything, but he recommends 2 workouts. Okay, so these things really work. If you are doing weight training in the morning, you can do body training in the evening, something like that, and you see the amazing transformation that happens with your regular food habits, proper sleep. You will carve yourself into a wonderful craft that the creator had in mind when he put you on this planet. Okay, start executing on these 5 things. First one, make sure you absolutely focus on what you want to achieve. So when you are spending time with yourself, you have to spend time with yourself. Why do people go to Himalayas or some places of solitude? Because they want to empty themselves so that they can connect with the supreme power. That supreme power could be found in worship. That supreme power could also be found in your work. That's why they say bhakti yoga and then karma yoga. There are 2 types of yogis, they say prominently. You can reach God through your devotion, you can reach God through your work. So make sure that you absolutely focus, whether it's work or worship, or whether if your work is your worship, make sure that you give 100% focus on whatever you're working on. Next, the 90-91 rule. For the next 90 days, your first 90 minutes, your top 1 task, number 1 task, focus on that. And then your other works, what you are doing, every 1 hour, take 10 minutes break. Don't sit like a saint. Okay, get up. It's good for your body also. The blood circulation also. Unfortunately, some of us, we work work from beds, we work from sofas and all. That's not the place for you to work. Some people they lie down and then they work on their laptops. No, that's not the way it's meant to be. You have to sit on a proper 90 degrees chair, trying to recline for 120 degrees or something like that. That's how you got to sit and work. So make sure that you stand up, you keep moving, especially in the digital era. If you have a digital watch or something like that, set a time, stand up in between. Yeah. And then daily 5 concepts. What are your 5 tasks that you're supposed to do? I told you don't include family in this, right? What are your 5 to-dos? Even if you have to do, go to a friend, to movie or anything like that's also a to-do. So what are your 5 to-dos that you have to include there? Next one, the second wind workout. Make sure that you work out at least twice a day. Probably 30 minutes in the day and 30 minutes in the evening before you go to bed. Okay, let me know how you're working on these things and how these things are making a difference in your life. I'm sure it'll have a tremendous impact on your present and also on your future. I just can't wait to see you evolve as a wonderful human being that the planet Earth is waiting for, not just being an EA. All the very best, and I'll see you soon in the class. Okay, fine. So now today we are going to discuss something new, new. So we have been talking about family. I mean, don't include family in your to-dos, I said. So very much true. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about family, right? Your spouse and your dependents. Let's get there. Okay. So we are talking about family. Family. Okay. See, a proper family you see here. Uh, 3 kids. 3 kids or 4 kids. Parents. Yeah. Nice. So good. Okay. Where am I? Okay. So here, when we looked at 1040 yesterday, we had this form, right? 1040. Now here in 1040, when we are looking at it, you see we did filing status, right? We have covered filing status. Then we have this first name, last name, spouse first name, spouse last name, right? Home address, city or county, and in case you're in a foreign country or something like that, that place. Then your SSN, your ITIN. Now, next one, digital assets. This we'll discuss later. Then standard deduction, I told you what it is. Then dependents. Okay, now here you will see who all are in the family. Okay, now spouse is not your dependent. Okay, she'll kill you. She is your half. Okay, better half or best half, right? So spouse is not your dependent. Now, who all can be dependent? Like we were discussing some terms yesterday in our class, in our last class, qualifying child, qualifying relative, and all that. Now you understand that pretty well, right? Qualifying child means children. Qualifying relative means relatives, right? Brother, sister, uncle, auntie, whosoever you want to include. Okay, father, mother, all these people, will come into relatives. But all these people, are dependents, right? All these people are dependents. Okay, so dependents are listed here. Now let's study what do we have about dependents. Okay, chalo, आराम से we will enjoy this session. Okay, so what are dependents and how to claim dependents? The term dependent means a qualifying child or a qualifying relative. Okay, so it could be a child, chota chintu, right? Or it could be bada relative. Now, dependents can be claimed if the taxpayer meets all three, okay, all three of the following tests. All three of the following tests, okay. Now, what is that? Dependent taxpayer test, joint return test, citizen or resident or citizen test. Now, what are these tests? Let's see, one by one. Dependent taxpayer test, joint return test, and then resident or citizen test. Okay, fine. Let's write here. Okay, let's write A. Dependent taxpayer test. What does this mean? Okay, give me a moment. Let me do something. Okay, some decoration. Dependent taxpayer test, joint return test, and then citizen or resident test. Okay, there's US citizen, US resident or citizen test. So these tests are important normally for a dependent. Now, what do we mean? Dependent taxpayer test. The taxpayer cannot claim anyone as a dependent if the taxpayer can be claimed as a dependent by another person. Okay, cannot claim as dependent if he has been claimed as a dependent by another person. That's understood, right? Okay, now let's say married filing separate return, and like husband and wife. Okay, and there's one Chintu. And Chintu is like, husband says, I have spent, most of the money on Chintu. Chintu is with me, that, this, and all. Okay. Now, wife says, "Oh, mera bhi beta hai, is my son also." Okay. But both cannot claim. Are you getting it? Okay. Chintu can be claimed only by one person. Both cannot claim Chintu. That is something, you have to keep it in mind. Only one person can claim. Okay. And it may so happen, sometimes that, let's say, uh, husband is dead, okay, but husband's parents are alive. Husband is dead and husband's parents are alive, then let me say that. Don't change now. Okay, what was I saying? No, husband is dead, okay. Um, husband's parents are alive, okay, and spouse is there, okay. Now spouse is taking care, at the same time grandparents, I mean husband's parents are also taking care, let's say. Now both want to claim the child. The law says that's not possible. Only one person must claim the child. Only one person must claim the child. So that's what it's trying to say. The taxpayer cannot claim anyone else as a dependent if the taxpayer can be claimed as a dependent by another person. Okay, next. In other words, the dependent taxpayer test specifies that any taxpayer who can be claimed as a dependent cannot claim a dependent themselves, and also that if this fellow itself is dependent on somebody, how can he claim somebody else as a dependent? Are you getting it? Let's take another example. Okay, let me get this board up for you. No. Okay. Now, let's say there is a father, okay, and father is taking care of a son plus grandson. This son, he lost his wife. Let's just think for a moment that wife was lost. I mean, wife passed away in COVID or something, and son is like mentally unstable, okay. Some, like, is not in a stable, so he's unstable, okay. And father is taking care of son. He's taking care of son and also grandson. Now, when he himself is a dependent on his father, how can he claim his son? Are you getting it? When he himself is a dependent on his father, how can he claim his son? Okay, so dependent taxpayer test. Okay, one, just remember that the person whom you are claiming as dependent must not be claimed by somebody else. Then two, the person who wants to claim as dependent, the person who is being claimed as a dependent cannot claim anybody else as dependent. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay, so what does it say? The taxpayer cannot claim anyone else as a dependent if the taxpayer himself, let me make it more easier, himself or herself is claimed as a dependent. Okay, the taxpayer himself or herself is claimed as a dependent. Cannot claim if the taxpayer himself or herself is claimed as a dependent by another person. In other words, the dependent taxpayer test specifies that any taxpayer who can be claimed as a dependent cannot claim a dependent themselves. Okay, cannot claim a dependent themselves. I hope you have understood that. Okay, remember this example also. Try to scribble it down, somewhere if you feel like making a note of it. Yeah, understanding the concept is very, very important. Don't miss out on that. Okay, next. Priya is an 18-year-old single mother. That's why don't make such mistakes. So early, don't make such big mistakes. It pains. Teachers, elders, it pains. Okay, 18-year-old. What is that age? She's an 18-year-old single mother who has an infant son who is 3 months old. Priya lives with her parents. Follow the story. Okay, get into the scene. Priya lives with her parents and has a part-time job, but she doesn't make enough money to support herself or her infant son. Priya is claimed as a dependent by her parents. So she is prohibited. Okay. She is prohibited from claiming her infant son as a dependent on her own tax return. Okay. Sir, can a dependent also file tax return? Yes, that we will discuss, as we are progressing in this session. Okay, I hope you are understanding this. Hope this concept is clear. Yeah, same thing what I told you. So here instead of son, it is Priya. That's what you are seeing here. So instead of son, you see Priya. Let me wipe this. So it's Priya. Priya's son, father and mother. Okay, parents. So assume our parents file a joint return or something like that. Okay, so make sure you follow this well. Don't miss out on the concepts. Next. Okay, hope that page was clear. Let's quickly revise one. So, what are dependents? Who are dependents and how to claim dependents? What? Oh, okay. Who are dependents and how to claim dependents? Okay. Who are called or treated dependents and how to claim dependents. Okay. The term dependent means in tax perspective. Okay. Not in English. Okay. Qualifying child, qualifying relative. Then dependents can be claimed if the taxpayer meets all three conditions. 1. Dependent taxpayer test. 2. Joint return test. 3. US citizen or residence test. Okay. Next. And dependent taxpayer test, you cannot claim somebody else as a dependent if you yourself are dependent on somebody, right? Next, joint return test. What is joint return test? A taxpayer is not allowed an exemption for a dependent if the dependent files a joint return. Now, earlier exemption used to be there, but now exemptions are not there. You get a straight standard deduction and you get credits. Okay, but earlier dependent exemption used to be there, but still know that taxpayer is not allowed an exemption for a dependent if the dependent files a joint return. Okay, not allowed an exemption for a dependent if dependent files a joint return. if the dependent understand the concepts very very well. Huh. So it's like okay, let's take this case. Do we have an example here? Oh, we have an example here. Okay, great. So let's dive into the topic only. There's an example already. Okay, cannot claim. Okay, a married person who files a joint return as a dependent unless the married person files the return only as a claim for refund. Okay, a taxpayer something wrong with it. Okay, that's okay. The font is appearing different there. Okay, a taxpayer cannot claim a married person who files a joint return as a dependent unless the married person files the return only as a claim for refund. Cannot claim a married person who files a joint return as a dependent. Now, the dependent filed a joint return merely as a claim for refund and no tax liability would exist for either spouse on separate returns. Okay, claim for return only as a claim. I'll explain you with an example. Now, what do I mean? Let's say slowly understand. Okay, so we are in no hurry to rush up the topic. Okay, slowly understand what we are trying to say. Now, what does it say? A taxpayer cannot claim a married person who files a joint return as a dependent. Okay, now let's say Mr. Dhirubhai, late Dhirubhai Ambani sir. Okay, assuming he's alive, he's still alive in entrepreneurs hearts and every inspirational person. Okay, whether people are good, bad, they have definitely contributed to economy, they have impacted politics, they have been history changers. Reliance, just that name is enough. Okay, to talk about Dhirubhai sir. Yeah, Dhirubhai sir. Chalo. So Mr. Dhirubhai, let's say Mukesh is there. Okay, Mukesh Ambani. I'm not talking about Anil. Okay, Anil Ambani. So we are talking about Mukesh. Okay. Now, Mukesh, what's Mukesh wife name? Neetu Ambani, or what's her name? Neeta Ambani. Okay, I often get confused. Neeta or Neetu. Okay, fine. Now let's say Mr. Mukesh and Mrs. Neetu. Okay, wife of Mukesh. Okay, now before he got married, before Mukesh got married, assume that Mr. Dhirubhai used to claim him as a dependent. Okay, dependent. Now after marriage, these people will be filing a joint return, right? Mukesh and Neetu will be filing a joint return. So when you are filing a joint return here, Mukesh and Neetu, they are filing a joint return, you're filing an MFJ, you get the standard deduction and all, right? Now, when you're already getting your share, again, you cannot be claimed as a dependent here. You cannot remove M, Mukesh, and come as a dependent here. Are you getting it? Because already, you're filing a joint return. अलग है अभी family is अलग, it's a different family. Again, you cannot be filing, you cannot be claiming yourself as a dependent because you're filing an independent return. But what the law says is, in case, Mukesh has no income, is dependent on Dhirubai, let us say, Neetu is also dependent on Dhirubai, okay, because when, that's what we read a while ago. Here we said, parents, Priya and grandson, right? Here we said parents, Priya and then grandson. Now imagine parents is Mr. Dhirubai, Priya is Mukesh, okay, Priya is Mukesh, and grandson is Neetu, let us say, okay. So when father is claiming son and wife is dependent on this son or the father-in-law, I mean, husband cannot claim wife and all, right? So that concept doesn't arise at all. So the same concept we are trying to understand here also. Now let's think that Mukesh is completely dependent on Neetu. Mukesh and Neetu are dependent on Mr. Dhirubai, and there's no concept of filing a separate return. But however, Mukesh dad, deposited some money, on his name or something like that, and there was interest income, and federal taxes were withheld. TDS, okay, taxes were withheld. So, if Mukesh is filing a return only to claim that refund, okay, but he will be claimed as a dependent only on Dhirubai's return. Okay, just rewind this and try to listen once again. Okay, both the examples are important. Okay, what I have told you, right? Both these examples, like parents ka what I told you, and then the Dhirubai example also. Both examples, both are different again. Both are different examples. The concept is the same. One is for the dependent taxpayer. Now it is for the joint return test. Okay, so. Oh, you can't imagine them to be dependents. Many people are dependent on them. Okay, that's a blessing. Fine. A taxpayer cannot claim a married person who files a joint return as a dependent unless the married person files the return only as a claim for refund. Okay, so Mukesh had some interest income on which TDS got deducted. To claim that TDS is filing the return, that's all. Only then you can claim the refund. That's all. I mean. But any person who is filing a joint return, you cannot claim that person as a dependent. Remember that. Next, the dependent filed a joint return merely as a claim for refund. Exception. What is the exception? Same, claim for refund. Okay, the dependent filed a joint return merely as a claim for refund. Just to get that refund, he filed the tax return. Otherwise, there is no need for him. He is already a dependent, and no tax liability would exist for either spouse on separate returns. No tax liability. And no tax liability. There is no tax liability at all. Just interest or income was there, on that TDS was deducted. That's all, and is trying to claim that refund. That's it. Next example. Kanisha is 19 years old and had no income in 2022. Okay, had no income. Kanisha lived with her father for the whole year. Kanisha got married on December 31st, 2022 to Karthik, who is 24 years old. Kanisha's husband earned 28,700 in 2022. Then Kanisha and Karthik chose to file jointly. Kanisha's father supported his daughter the entire year and even paid for her wedding. However, her father cannot claim Kanisha as a dependent in 2022 because she is filing jointly with her husband Karthik. Right? Good example. Good example. So, her father cannot claim Kanisha as his dependent in 2022. So lived with father, Kanisha got married, Kanisha and Karthik chose to file jointly. Okay, these things. Okay, Kanisha and Karthik chose to file jointly. Kanisha's father supported his daughter and even paid for the wedding. Okay, even paid for the wedding. However, her father cannot claim Kanisha as a dependent because she is filing jointly with her husband. Okay. Yeah, go through that once. Yeah. Let's take a look at C. Okay. Understand, aram se understand. Okay. Once you study this, we will be using these terms like very often, like the back of your hand, you will be using these terms. So make sure that your foundation is extremely strong, extremely strong. Okay. So don't miss out on that. Chalo. A dependent must be US citizen, resident alien, US national, or a resident of Canada or Mexico for some part of the year. Okay. Remember this. First thing, USA citizen. In order to claim, this person must be a US citizen, resident alien, or US national, or a resident of Canada or Mexico. Mexico for some part of the year. Okay, for some part of the year, at least. Now, exception for adopted child. If a taxpayer legally adopted a child who is not a US citizen, okay, there's an exception for adopted child. If a taxpayer legally adopted a child who is not a US citizen or so and so, okay, legally adopted, the same color, yeah, it's better. Yeah. Legally adopted a child who is not a US citizen, resident, or national. This test is met if the child lived with the taxpayer as a member of the taxpayer's household all year. Okay, if the child lived with the taxpayer, right, all year as a member of household all year. Getting it? Member of household all year. This exception also applies if the child was lawfully placed with the taxpayer for legal adoption. You can say foster child also. Okay, if the child was lawfully placed with the taxpayer, legal adoption, that's it. The same word, you see again. The child was legally placed. Getting it? I think it's a good thing, because if you're really taking care of an orphan, that's a good thing. It truly doesn't matter if you're really doing a noble cause. I think we should appreciate IRS here. It did say you have to adopt people from my nation, right? So that's a good move. So you can adopt people from any country. You see, they are fatherless, uh, motherless, homeless, hopeless. Hmm? So take care of them. Yeah. You can also do your part. Do a little charity. Good for you. Good for you. So as I always say, in our faith we give 10% to God or godly purposes. So I always say that you should give 10% to yourself, okay, in making you a better person. In making you a better person, sir. If I am giving myself 10%, don't I give to poor 10%? Hats off to you. Okay, so hats off to all those people who do that charity and all. Okay, like what Mother Teresa said, charity begins at home. So, and remember always, no matter which era, which generation, the givers are always greater than the takers. You just can't beat them. Yeah, the givers are always greater than the takers. Yeah. So remember that always. The more you give, the more you receive. So whether it's knowledge, and some people, I see in some companies, they are already EAs, but they don't share their knowledge with the team. And when their team members, study, and then they come to know, sir, you have taught this in the class, but my manager, who was also your student, he never told me this. Don't do that. They may not tell you, but see, when they are discussing with me, people like me or anybody senior, it shows a bit of insecurity, or it shows your negative shade to them. If you really don't know, say that you don't know, or you say that I did read that but I forgot, it was there in EA. Or if you really want that person to research and learn by himself, then tell him that I know that, but I want you to research. And if you are not able to research by tomorrow, then I'll come back to you and I'll tell you what's the answer for that. But hiding something that you know, that's not a virtue of a leader or a good manager. So take care of these things. Yeah. As I said, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Yeah. And a knowledgeable team is very powerful, I tell you. Whether you are a manager, you are a practitioner, whether you are an employee who is watching me, a knowledgeable team is very, very powerful. Even if you are telling a lie, the entire team should tell the same lie. Remember that. Yeah. Chalo. Ramya, who is a US citizen, is in the process of adopting an infant boy from India who lived with her for the entire tax year. Even though Ramya's child is not yet a US citizen, he meets the citizen or resident test because he was a member of Ramya's household for the entire year. Okay, how beautiful, right? I really appreciate this move of IRS, because he was a member of Ramya's household for the entire year. Infant boy from India who lived with her for the entire year. Getting it? Entire year. That's important. Entire year. You live entire year? Come on, enter. Enter as a US citizen or resident. Clear so far? Yeah. I'm going slow so that you understand that better. Okay, so we have done citizen or resident test. Okay, let me go black and white. Yeah. So we have done citizen or resident test. Yeah. The person must be a US citizen or resident. Then we have done joint return test. If the person is already married and filing a joint return, you cannot claim that person as a dependent. Exception could be that in case that person is filing the return only to get a claim of his withholdings refund, then you can. Then dependent taxpayer test. If you yourself are a dependent on somebody, you cannot claim anybody else as a dependent. Okay. And 3 tests: dependent taxpayer test, joint return test. Okay. Sure. So that was question 1. Now coming to dependents. Dependents are of 2 types. Okay. Qualifying child and then qualifying relative. See, in case you are somebody who is writing notes, you can put dependent on top, then you can divide it like that also. Whatever is convenient for you. Okay. My team is working on making the notes as appealing to your eyes as it could, so that it develops more interest for you, more curiosity for you, seeing the images and all. Now qualifying child. Okay, who is a qualifying child? Okay, and then qualifying child is somebody who meets these 5 tests. What are these 5 tests? Okay, relationship test, okay, age test, residency test, support test, and then joint return test. Okay, so these are 5 tests which is important. Okay, relationship, age, residency, support, joint return. Now what are these? Okay, let's go one by one. Qualifying child, 5 tests. 5 tests to be met. Okay, qualifying child, 5 tests to be met. Okay. So these are those 5 tests. Now qualifying relative. Okay, 4 tests to be met. Qualifying relative, 4 tests to be met. Now let's take a look at this picture. Qualifying relative. Okay. Not a qualifying child. Gross income, support test, member of household, or relationship test. Okay, we will have a detailed explanation of this, but as of now understand that for a child, 5 letters, child. Okay, child, 5 letters, 5 tests. Now for relative, what do we say? Any other name for relative? Okay, who takes care of child? Amma. Okay, Papa, right? Amma, Papa has 4 letters. Okay. Just try to remember that. Okay. Mom is also a relative. I mean, that's how the law defines it, right? Parents are also your relatives, qualifying relatives. Only your kids, they fall into child, right? Your kids, the one you gave birth and the one who gave you birth, right? So just try to remember that. Okay, child and something just for you to remember, so it'll make sense that you remember that. Chalo. Next, now what are different types of qualifying child tests? Wow. Okay, same thing. People have, they've put it in a different way. Relationship test, same thing. Relationship test, age test, residency test, support test, and then joint test. Okay, 5 types of tests. Same for the qualifying child, what it was put. Now, a relationship test. Relationship test. Okay, child, brother or sister, then brother. Okay, fine. Okay, it's put in separate pages. Okay, let me just write it here, so that you are able to see that. It's the same thing. Let me just put it in a chart so that you understand it. Now, see, normally we have seen that there are 5 tests that needs to be satisfied. Okay, if you have to call somebody a qualifying child. Okay, qualifying child, there are 5 tests that you have to satisfy. So one is relationship test, right? Age test, residency test, support test, and then joint return test. Okay, 5 tests. Now the first test that we have taken now is relationship test. Okay, what do we say when you see a boy or a girl with somebody? You will ask how is he related to you, how is she related to you? Then you end up saying he is my niece, she is my nephew, or something like that, right? That's what you get to say. Now similarly, relationship test, when we are talking about child relationship test, there are 2 parts. Okay, one is a child, then the next one is a brother or sister. Now in child, okay, in child you have these different types of child. Okay, you have what? Own. It means your own child, right? Own child. Then you have your stepchild. You know the stepchild, right? Then you have adopted child. Then you have grandchild. Then you have foster, not faster, foster. Placed. I told you about that. The vehicle hitting those parents, and then the law decides that okay, now we have to take care of these people, something like that. Then brother or sister, you have own, step, half. Okay, half. So I'm sure this chart will help you understand better. So if you can rephrase that image into a different thing later, it'll be great. Something like that is good. Yeah. So if you can put it in a different format, it'll be good. But still it is made very clear, even in the material also. Whatever is convenient for you. Team has tried to be little creative. So they have put each content on a separate page. Okay, so basically qualifying child, there are 5 tests that is involved. 5 tests. Okay, relationship test, age test, residency test, support test, and then joint return test. Okay, now so relationship test is applicable to child or brother or child and brother or sister. Okay, so like what you see here, we just put, okay, it applies to child, brother or sister. Now when it applies to child, who is a child? Okay, so it says own child. Who is own child, right? Stepchild, right? He is a widow. Okay, he has a daughter, and to take care of daughter he married. And then with that wife also he had a daughter or son, let's say. So the first daughter will be stepchild, right, to his wife. We all know that. Okay, I'm just explaining. Adopted, an orphan is being adopted or something like that. The grandchild, what's Mukesh Ambani's son's name? What's Mukesh Ambani's son's name? So we spoke about Dhirubhai Ambani, we spoke about Mukesh Ambani, Akash Ambani, right? So now it is Akash Ambani. Okay, so Akash Ambani is the grandchild. Okay, then foster child, I told you, right? In case parents are dead, and the law decides that these people should, the one who killed them or something like that. It's just an example. Has to take care of the child. Then, I mean, he has been placed, into that system that he has to take care of the child going forward. Then that child is called a foster child. Then brother or sister, for some people, even their brother or sister are kids, like for me. So it's very important, that you take care of them. So it could be own brother, it could be step brother. Now half brothers. Who is a half brother? Step brother, we have understood. So in the earlier example where I said, dad had a daughter from the first wife and he was a widow, and then he married, the second one, and he had a son, let's say. Now that son, is the step brother for this first daughter. Yeah, that piece is clear, right? Now, what is half brother? Okay, half brother. The best example could be Ram and Lakshman. Okay, Ram and Lakshman. Yeah, it may appear that they are step brothers, but they are actually half brothers. I mean, father is the same, but mothers are different, right? Father is same and mothers are different. They are called half brothers. Okay, fine. The qualifying child must be related to the taxpayer by blood. Okay, marriage or legal adoption. Right. Qualifying child must be related to the taxpayer by blood, marriage, or legal adoption. Qualifying children include a child, stepchild, adopted child, a sibling, half sibling, or step sibling. Includes half brother, half sister, uh, step brother, etc. Then a descendant of one of the above, such as grandchild, niece, nephew. Okay, a foster child. For the purpose of this test, an adopted child is always treated same as a natural child. Okay, remember this. Adopted child is always treated as a natural child. See, I'm sure you have understood everything in this one image. Okay, but still, I just added some lines. Next one is age test. Okay, now until what age you can call somebody chintu? Bacha hai. Until what age? So the law says, under age 19. It means what? Up to 18 years, right? Under age 19. At the end of the year, on the last day of the tax year, the person must be under 18 years of age and younger than the taxpayer. Younger than the taxpayer or spouse if filing jointly. A full-time student under age 24. Full-time student under age 24. Permanently and then totally disabled at any time during the year, regardless of age. Permanently and totally disabled, regardless of age. Okay, now let's try to put this in a diagram. Age test. Wherever needed, we'll just try to add a chart so that, say, this was a relationship test. Okay, this is clear. Okay, try to document this somewhere. A relationship test. Now we will talk about age test. Okay. Okay. Now talking about age test, there are three categories, right? Three categories of age test. What are they? Let's see. First one is regular, natural dependent. Okay. Next one is full-time student. Sorry for my pathetic handwriting, bear with me. And then last one is disabled. Okay. Permanently and total disabled. Okay. Permanently and totally disabled. Okay. So if it is regular, If it is regular, the person must be under 19 years of age. If it is full-time student, the person must be under 24 years of age. And if it is disabled, there is no age limit. Clear? Let me disappear. No age limit. Okay. Small chats make our understanding more easier. Okay. Age test, regular, under 19 years, full-time student, under 24 years, then permanently and totally disabled, no age limit. Now, getting it? Now, Rakesh is 55 years old and mentally disabled with Down syndrome. Okay. Mentally disabled. Okay. He is 55 years old. Not these points. Okay. 55 years old, mentally disabled. Now, Down syndrome, whatever syndrome. Okay. He's mentally disabled. Okay. Kiran, his 38-year-old sister, provides all of Rakesh's support and cares for him. Awesome, no? Hats off to those sisters. Yes. Younger ones. I've seen, such wonderful people. 38-year-old sister provides all of Rakesh's support and cares for him in her home, where he lives with her full time. He lives with her full time. Despite Rakesh's age, he is considered a qualifying child and a dependent for tax purposes because he is disabled, right? Kiran can claim Rakesh as her qualifying child, and she can also file as head of household. Awesome, right? Head of household, then he is considered a qualifying child. I've just highlighted, what is necessary. So I had, because it's a recorded session, I cannot take her name, but I had, one of my students who completed her EA in 23 days. Okay, let me tell the name, Kamarunisa. Okay, Kamarunisa, she completed in 23 days. And I always, take her as an inspiration. Her father wanted to get her married, to an auto driver because he was an auto driver. But she didn't give up. She studied EA. She completed EA in 23 days. Of course, after that, there have been people who have completed EA in 14 days also. What is his name? Deepak Nagori. He's a CA, he's CPA, and triple qualified, I guess, and then CPA also. But because CPA is a state license, he wanted a federal license, EA, and he studied EA. Because in EA, you study regulations in depth. You see our EA classes versus regulation, any classes. You will see that, it's like, layer, touch. Yeah, we told you this topic, it will be like that. But the way we go very deep. So this lady happened to complete EA in 23 days. Now, why I'm talking about her? Because she completed EA and she went into a wonderful package. She used to draw 18 lakhs plus, in EY, with annual bonus of 2 lakhs and all. This was like 3+ years ago. Okay. And now I didn't ask her pay again, but I'm sure she must be doing more. But she comes to me every Eid, whether it's Ramzan or Bakrid. I get my share of Sheer Kumba or biryani, Mirchi ka salan and all. Thank you, Kama, for that. Now, what I like about this girl is, having come from such a very humble family, once she became EA and once she got into, a good company, she rewrote her family history. Like, what do I mean by that? Her father's auto was in loan. She cleared that. Then her elder brother was not so doing well, but he had 2 daughters. She bought a auto for him. She put his two daughters into school, and then she purchased jewelry for herself. Then she purchased a home for herself, and then she gifted that home to her future husband. And now they are happily married. Husband works in Swiggy as delivery manager or something, so he takes care of an outlet. Happy couple, now they have some 3 kids, I guess. So I really feel, so very good, these girls. And she's half of my weight, must be under 50 kgs. Now she put on a little weight after kids, but that's how she was. I mean, they're like kids to me, so I take their name. And it's not that I'm highlighting anybody. I have many other inspirational students who study from broken phones. When they send me pictures, sir, this is how I'm studying, pray for me or bless me, or I have my exam tomorrow, I'm studying like this. I mean, it makes me very humble. And there are people who use all hi-fi iMac, and all, but each one is unique. So whatever you are blessed with, make sure you leverage that, be faithful in what you have taken up, and you will soon see the reward. It may so appear that what are we doing, why are we doing, but do it. Sometimes the MCQs, the tax tips that we put every day, we tell our students, no, I'm not talking about you watch every day, I know that. I'm talking about people who listen to me, that I have to watch the MCQ, I have to watch the tax tip, but still they don't. And we at iLead, there's a team that works exclusively on that. They make it, they type it, literally they type it, but still many students, they don't see that. But a newcomer who wants to enroll for the course, he'll go to Google, he'll go to YouTube and try to type. And that's how he enrolls. Of course, the business, it'll definitely happen, when there's substance, in your content, definitely you will get business. But that's not my desire. My desire is that, you stay abreast of what is happening, stay updated. But still, companies watch, people watch, customers watch, clients watch. So as students, you must watch. If you have not been watching this far, I encourage you to subscribe, watch the daily MCQ, daily tax tip. And if you feel we can do anything else, to stay connected, because after the course, once you qualify also, you may feel that there's no need for me, to go through this MCQ and all, but please don't be like that. There's something called a CPA, continuing professional education. Even after EA, you have to continue your professional education, at least 24 hours you have to do every year, so that for 3 years you do that 72 hours or something like that. When we come to third paper, tax representation, we will learn there, the CP requirements are there. I'm not talking about CPE credits, I'm talking about CPE requirements. So you have to put those things. Okay, so be faithful. You may be going through some challenge, I don't know whom I'm talking to. Whatever is your situation, trust God and trust what God has given you. Even if you have given you poverty, trust that poverty also. You will be the game changer. You will be the game changer. Receive it as I speak. You will be the game changer. You are somebody who is going to change the family living standards. Because of you, there'll be glory, honor, respect in your family. So don't give up on what you're doing now. Be faithful. You don't understand something, watch the video again. You don't understand, even after watching the video, we have a wonderful KM team. Call them, they'll help you. Still you don't understand, talk to a proven mentor. Research, go to YouTube, check if there are any videos on that. Google if there are any articles on that. Still a next level, check if there are any books on that. I mean, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Are you getting it? Hmm? I love you very, very much, and I just can't wait to see you as a rock star. Rock star. You know what's rock star? He's a rock, she's a rock. So wherever he or she is there, there's confidence, there's positive energy, and they can change the environment, just with their presence. Be that wonderful person. All the very best. Chaliye. I hope this piece is clear. Okay, so we have done what? We have done qualifying. We are doing qualifying child, right? So we did relationship test, then we did age test. Now we are doing residency test. Now, what do you mean by residency? To meet this test, a child must have lived with taxpayer for more than half of the year. Okay, so we are not going into residential status and all. We're just saying that lived with the taxpayer for more than half of the year. Residence test. A child is considered to have lived with the taxpayer during periods of time when either the taxpayer or child or both are temporarily absent due to temporarily absent is also considered as present. Temporarily absent is also considered as present due to special circumstances such as illness, education, business, vacation, or military. Let's say, child was admitted in the hospital because some dengue fever or something, God forbid. 1 week the child was admitted. Now, just because child was admitted in the hospital, do you mean to say that the child did not live with the taxpayer? No, it doesn't go like that. Or let's say, child went for a foreign tour, 2 weeks. Okay, a foreign, education. The college said, we have to go to Paris, France, to work on this so and so project, and we will be out for 2 weeks. And they worked on that project, and the person was out for 2 weeks, let's say. Do you think the child never lived with the taxpayer? It's a temporary absence, right? Vacation. If a person has gone for vacation, daddy, we are going with our friends, I'll be back in 1 week. That's all temporary absences. Okay, so those cannot be construed as not present. Okay, temporary absence is also considered as presence. Next, a child who died during the year is treated as having lived with the taxpayer all year. Okay, pathetic, but understand this. A child who died during the year. I have seen cases like this. Is treated as having lived with the taxpayer all year. Having lived with the taxpayer all year. If the taxpayer's home was the child's home, the entire time he or she was alive during the year. Obviously, taxpayer's home was the main home. Normally, child will be with the parents only. See, here I wanted to tell to ladies especially, sisters, daughters. Okay, I'm talking to you, future mothers. Okay, so make sure that you take care of your health. A life comes out of you. Life comes out of you, and the one you give birth to can give life to so many, regardless of the gender. I have 2 daughters. Yeah, virtually and otherwise, I have many who treat me that fatherly figure. But I myself have 2 daughters, and my younger daughter, Shraddha Daniela, she was born 600 grams. 600 grams. I can't even imagine. We had a preterm baby. Until that time, we never knew that a baby can be born even like that. It was so tough for us. But God, in His grace, mercy, He saved her. And my wife took wonderful care of her. She never gave up on her. I'm telling you these things because um, we never anticipated, we never saw also, how a preterm child looks like. But please take care of your health. Take care of your health. Eat on time, sleep on time, exercise, invest in yourself. The Lord, I tell my wife, Lord made me from mud. That's why, I'm dark. But then he realized that, okay, oh, this mud is like colorless, and then he made woman. He added colors. He added colors. So you are made in the image of God. You are made in the beauty of God. We are made in the strength of God and wisdom of God. So make sure that you take care of yourself, because your busy schedule or your negligence can cost your child also. Can cost your child also. I mean, the reasons could be anything. The reason why I'm talking about this is, like, I have had students, who share with me that they had miscarriages and all. It's so painful. It's so painful. It affects their marriage. Then they sometimes, though we are, virtually studying, I'm sure you and I are connected. So if I get to hear, such stories, I go very sad. But if you have allowed it to happen, while I feel sad, you are responsible for that. You are responsible for that. So take care of your health, eat well, sleep well, exercise, and have a proper work life balance. As a woman, you have to shoulder so many responsibilities. You have to manage your work, you have to manage your family, and you're already doing it well, but take care of your health also. This is not a formal message I'm giving you. This is a very brotherly, fatherly advice, or you can call it a command from your teacher. Yeah, take care of yourself, and your kids need you. Yeah, your kids need you, your family needs you, your husband loves you. So take care of yourself, for yourself and for your loved ones. Don't miss out on that. Yeah. Chale. The taxpayer can claim a child as a dependent who was born alive during the year, even if the child lived only for a moment. Okay. Even if the child lived only for a moment. My baby was in NICU for 70 days. Shraddha. Oh, she was in NICU, for 70 days. And it was so painful for us. People used to come out from that NICU. Some babies would be dead. Uh, you know, I mean, it's so pathetic actually. When we look at, the moment we used to go into, that place, oh, it was like so scary. We have seen, babies dying. Mother carried them, for all 9 months, 10 months, but the baby died. So this was something, that I shared in the church actually, but I'm sharing it, so that I show you, what is the transformation that has happened. Okay, because I come from this faith, we give definitely glory to God, but I'm just showing you that this is how she was born. Oh, it's So this is my family, and this is she conquered death. Truly, we have seen beauty in something that was supposed to go into ashes. We are so grateful, to God and to all the people who have been with us in those tough times. It was a busy tax season. She was born on Jan 2016, and I had a wonderful team. Seriously, I go very emotional when I think of my team, and they help me so much. So the reason, why I'm sharing these things with you, like, in case at your workplace you get to see, somebody who is going through a miscarriage or a preterm stage, you may also not be able to empathize their pain because you never saw such babies. You never saw such babies because, I mean, my elder daughter was the heaviest in the family. 3.5 or close to 4 kg she was born. 3.7, 3.8, and this one was like 600 grams. So, but 70 days in the NICU, it was like hell, I tell you. Though I was making very good money, everybody loving people around. When something like that happened, your mind doesn't work. You're not skilled in your work. There's no creativity. Uh, there's no life in your speech. You wear the finest dresses, also still you will be dull. It's something from you. Okay, so as I always say, try to be those wonderful human beings on the planet where the Lord delights in. Yeah, unfortunately, we try to say that, that's personal. I'll handle it, I'll take care. No, if you are a friend, be with them, check on them, keep visiting them when they're going through, those challenges. If God forbid anybody in your known acquaintance, in your known connections are going through any challenge like that, I hope and pray that they will live to serve God, to glorify God with their work, with their words, with their wisdom. Okay, God bless you. Take care. Though you may be working in a very big company, tomorrow you may evolve yourself into a very rich person. Make sure, that you always stand for the people, when they need you the most. These examinations, nothing. You will rock. You have to pass. Obviously, you have to pass. There's no other way. But, beyond education, there is empathy. So, tomorrow you become a manager or a leader also, don't be harsh on your team member who is going through this kind of a challenge. You always tell baby. They are very sensitive. Those moments, they are very sensitive because they never know what's the call that they are going to get from the hospital. Is the baby going to live or not? If possible, pray for them if you believe in God, or at least comfort them if you believe in humanity, just for the time being. Go visit them. If you feel that they are lying, go visit them, check the reports, and if possible, extend financial help if they're really not doing that great. You making 6-digit income is not so glorious when you don't help your own people. I have to tell you these things. I'm a teacher, so it's my job that I teach you values also, not just the content. Yeah, our journey is for 200 hours. We'll have many more interesting conversations coming up. Yeah. Chalo. There must be a proof of a live birth shown by an official document, such as birth certificate. I mean, in ICUs, especially, when you feel that your life is waste, that this and all, you keep cribbing. I didn't get iPhone 15. I didn't get my favorite car. I didn't get that color suit, that color bangles, that color lipstick, that promotion. Oh, he wrote a mail like that. She sent that message. Boy, girl, there's so much to life. There's so much to life. COVID has not taken you. Remember that. Remember that. People were so scared. They used to wash their milk packets. They used to iron their newspapers. Can you imagine from that stage we are today, able to touch, shake hands, hug? You should be so grateful. We have not gone away. We are not gone away. So be responsible with your life and take care of the people that you have in your life. Okay, chaliye. ICU is a very pathetic place. I just still remember, the baby was there and that father also was there for good 2 months or something, and suddenly the nurse comes and tells, doctor is calling you. This person goes and he comes crying, banging his chest. I could still hear his mourning. Nandaru, my baby is dead, he said. Oh, it's so painful. So take care of those people. That's very important, and be kind to them when you're talking to them. Don't be indifferent. Your education should not make you inhuman. That's the point I wanted to say and convey. Yeah. When I attended Robin Sharma's Titan Summit, one of the things that he said, we have discussed so many things, 10 tactics. Even before the 5am club was released, we were given those messages by Mr. Robin Sharma. So one of the things that he said exclusively, he made all of us stand, and then he said was, you're listening to so many great speakers, you're listening to so much content. I'm sure you will become very great, wealthy, wise also. And then he said, in the world of riches and your greatness, do not forget to be kind. I loved it. Do not forget to be kind. Being kind doesn't mean giving a 10 rupees or 100 rupees at the traffic signal to that beggar. Being kind also means how you treat your spouse, how you treat your family members, how you treat your team members, how you treat your clients, or how you treat a stranger also. I'm not giving you any social gyan, okay? It's very unfortunate. I see some people behaving very inhuman. It kind of hurts me. And if you are my student, सामने हो तो कुछ अलग ही बात करूंगा मैं. So don't be like that. Sir, nobody helped me when I was like that. Your kindness and all, it doesn't work for me. That's how the world is. Because you experience that pain, God gave you this thought that you can represent Him on this planet. You need not be like everybody. You're unique, fearfully and wonderfully made. Very distinct, special. No carbon copy also like you. So, take care. Chalo. Manoj is unmarried and lives with his 10-year-old son Dinesh. Manoj provides all of his son's financial support. In 2022, Dinesh was diagnosed with a rare form of pediatric cancer and was hospitalized for 11 months. Dinesh is still considered Manoj's qualifying child because the hospitalization counts as a temporary absence from home. Manoj can claim Dinesh as his qualifying child and he can also file as head of household, right? Simple thing. Temporary absence. अरे छुट्टी पे गया या हॉस्पिटल गया है बस, he just got admitted in the hospital or something. So all this also count as qualifying child. See, just like if you remember, we were discussing about filing status in our last class. So we said even if the spouse is dead during the year, in that year you can file MFJ or MFS, right? So similarly here also, even if the child is dead during that year, still you can claim that child as a qualifying child, right? Very, very interesting topics, you have very interesting topics. I mean, US taxation, I love it. I mean, the kind of deductions that is given there, and especially the concept that we just saw, even if it is a foreign adopted child, you are adopted legally, child lives with you, you can claim that child. Those virtues is something that I love. So I'm a guy who was shortlisted for the Indian Army. So if I was not teaching taxes, then I would have been in the Indian Army. That's why you see, I say, we are my Naya Bharat ka chehra hu. My means you. You are that iLead lion. The lion that you see there, it's you. In your family, at your workplace. Because of your contribution, your family will change, your company will change. And they'll say that, oh, we didn't have sales, okay, we didn't have like this, but just because of you, your inputs, your ideas, your thought process, your contribution, things will change. This will happen. So you are the face of New India. मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूँ. आप भी नए भारत के चेहरे हैं. See, people will come, people will go, but people who remain here only will make India great. Getting it? You have to travel, you have to go places, learn everything. I mean, that's my opinion, okay? Learn everything. What did India give me and all? I don't want to get into those conversations, but I wish and pray you become wonderful entrepreneurs. So I just wish you all the very, very best. Okay? Chalo, next one. Support test. Support test. The child cannot provide more than half of their support, obviously. Taxpayer has to pay at least 50% of dependent living expenses. See, even in the HOH, head of household, we were seeing this yesterday, right? Taxpayer has to pay, the taxpayer has to pay at least 50% of dependent living expenses. Next, if a child receives social security benefits and uses the benefits for their own support, the benefits are considered to be provided by the child, not by the parents. Right? Their own support, okay, not by the parents. Social security benefits, remember that. The benefits are considered to be provided by the child, not by parents. Next, a full-time student does not take scholarships, whether taxable or non-taxable, into account when calculating the support test. Okay, so do not take scholarships, I mean as income, okay, when calculating the support test. Chalo, let's see here. Okay, let's revise this topic once. Okay, the child cannot provide more than half of their support. For himself or herself, then support test comes into picture. I'm just making it more clear. Okay, if the child if the child cannot provide more than half of their support for himself or herself, then support test comes into picture. Yeah, obviously if the child is not able to take care of himself or herself, only then the provider comes into picture. When the provider comes, then the person who is getting supported becomes the dependent of that provider. Next, the taxpayer has to pay at least 50% of dependent living expenses. If child receives social security benefits and uses the benefits for their own support, the benefits are considered to be provided by the child, not by the parents. A full-time student should not take scholarships into account when calculating the support test. Next, let's take a look at this example. Sagar and Sarita file jointly. They have one daughter named Simi, age 20. Simi is not a student. Simi is not a student. Remember that. See, these things should strike you, because see, when we did this small chart, okay, age test, we said these three things, okay, regular dependent, okay, full-time student, and then disabled. So you have to check when they say not a student, it means you should say okay, not under 24 years. Okay, your mind should immediately respond to that. Simi earned $6,000 in wages before she was laid off in March and moved back in with her parents. Sagar and Sarita provided the majority of their daughter's support for the rest of the year. Simi got a new job in December and moved out. She is not a qualifying child for federal tax purposes. Although Simi meets the support test as well as the residency test, she does not meet the age test. She is over the age of 19 and not student. Getting it? So your answer was right there, at the start of the question. The reason, why I go line by line reading, explaining you every page, so that in the examination or even after the examination you qualify also, somebody sends you an email also, aram se you will read. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong, It so happened once, I'll tell you. Yeah, I have to tell you this, okay? Maybe some people became emotional watching those videos and all. I'll tell you something funny. Whether it's funny or not, you should tell me later, okay? So what happened, my previous boss, my first guru of US taxation, my Lakshmi Prasad sir, the CEO of IBSN, in those days, 2004 or something like that. When tsunami came, that's when, I entered into US taxation. And we did very well, and in 2006 or something, 6 or 7, it was New Year, and he sent a New Year message to all the team members. And it so happened that when he sent that message, he forgot to put the subject, the subject title of the email. He wrote the content, and he didn't have the email addresses of all those. Now we have so many, WhatsApp and all. I mean, 2006-7 and all, we didn't have all these things. So he just sent it to HR and admin, and he said, just send this out to. He was not HR, actually, he was some admin, executive, admin in charge. So he happened to send it to that person, and that person sent to 600 employees. The message from the CEO, and everybody got the emails. And after everybody got the email, Lakshmi sir, he happened to call the admin in charge and started speaking in tongues. We were wondering what happened. So he told the admin in charge, hey, I have sent an email. I don't have the email addresses, so please forward to them. And I missed putting the subject. So please put the subject as message from CEO. As message from CEO. And this fellow, instead of putting message from CEO, he put massage from CEO. So It was like people who wanted to laugh, they laughed. I mean, we laughed. I mean, he was yelling at him, and we were like standing there. We couldn't hold our laughter. Sorry, sir, if you are watching this video from somewhere through someone. I could not resist, sharing these things. So, uh, yeah. So he tells me, Nanda, I taught you 1040 for only 2 days. Now you are teaching for 200 hours. So, thank you very much, sir. You have inspired me to be in US taxation, and you gave me an opportunity. So I'm very, very grateful. I myself never thought that I'll become an EA and will be doing, all these things. But your thought, your vision has helped me create, so many jobs. And the person who is watching this video now is also going to be a wonderful destiny changer, history maker, genius. We read it today. Genius doesn't mean here, it means here, head, heart, and hand coordination. And I promise, I'll make more of them, sir. Yeah. Okay, coming back to the topic, so that was like, very funny. And then he told me, Nandu, I checked, he's elder to me, so he calls me Nandu. Nandu, I checked in the Word document also, it didn't show me error. Massage message, both are, I mean, English is right. So it was like very funny. We couldn't say anybody anything, but it was like every time we used to see him for a few months, we were laughing. And whenever he was with sir, we used to call him, hey, massage. Yeah, so it was like very funny. Add a little humor at your workplace, don't become workaholics. I mean, your office, your workplace is the place where you spend most of your time. So even if there are any disappointments and all, jaldi reconcile ho jao. And conflict resolution, this is what most of the business universities, they say, Harvard, Stanford and all. Conflict resolution. Boss told you something, manager told you something, a peer colleague told you something. They will tell you. Everything you say, yes sir, yes ma'am, okay bro, okay sis. I mean, everything doesn't go like that. There are sometimes, they may be upset. The hormonal changes, different factors, the regular cycle or whatever they're going through. We don't know. I mean, he had an accident, while coming to office. Usko kahin laga, usko chid. You switched off all the AC and all. Somebody like me, you switch off all the fan AC. He's like, ooh, even in the summer, he's like that. So this fellow starts fighting. All that frustration he'll take out here just because there is no fan or AC. Or somebody turned the fridge off, that there is no chilled water or something. I mean, piss people off. There are so many ways, So anyways, I think, I've been more non-subject guy today. Sorry, excuse me for that. But I'm enjoying this conversation. So, Sunil is a single parent with one 23-year-old daughter named Sarita, who lives with him. Sarita is a full-time college student. Yeah, immediately your mind, should go there. Oh, okay, fine. Right, full-time college student. Where is that? Just a second. Yeah. Right? The chart should immediately appear before you. It should immediately appear before you. Okay, full-time college student. Okay, under 24. Question में वो पूछे या ना पूछे, regardless of whether he asks or not, this should strike your mind. Okay, right, under 24, right. Keep that. Okay. Sunil contributes $12,000 to his daughter's support. Sarita receives a $9,000 scholarship during the year, but has no other income. Since the scholarship is not counted for the support test, then Sarita can be claimed as Sunil's qualifying child. Okay. Note, the scholarship is not counted in support test. Getting it? Yeah? Next. Joint test. To meet this test, the child cannot file a joint return for the year. Okay. So we'll call it as joint return test. The very first page, what we have seen, that ABC thing. Same thing again we are reading. Okay. Joint return test. This fellow should not file joint return with anybody unless it is a claim for refund. Unless it's a claim for the joint return test does not apply if the child and his or her spouse file a joint return merely as a claim for refund. As a claim, merely, yeah, means just to claim the refund. I told you, no, he doesn't have any income and all. TDS got deducted. Maybe somebody invested money or something like that. TDS got deducted. Now to claim that TDS is filing the return. That's all. Special test for qualifying child of more than one person. If a taxpayer and another person have the same qualifying child, use the following tiebreaker rules. Okay, before we go there, can you just quickly revise what we have done so far? Just check the video or the notes once again. Yeah, that was a little long session, so I thought I'll just give you a break. Right, but we will continue. Let's go in the flow. The topic is very very interesting, so let's not miss this. Chale. Now, the next one, special test for qualifying child of more than 1%. यानी it's like husband and wife, and there's only one Chintu, one boy. Let's say they're fighting for him. So people, Chintu is like a nickname, that I'm giving. So a nickname, just for a boy child. That's a very familiar name, in India. So Chintu, Papli, Bunty, all these names. So if your name is also that, let me know. Sir, I'm also Chintu. I'll remember you. Okay. So special test for qualifying child of more than 1%. If a taxpayer and another person have the same qualifying child, use the following tiebreaker rules. Okay. So what is a tiebreaker rules? Tiebreaker rules. If only one of the persons is the child's parent, the child is the qualifying child of the parent. Okay. So first preference will go to parent. It's like, let's say, in a family, Dadaji is there. Okay. And let's say, grandfather is there and also son is there. Say they both take care of the grandchild. Okay. Assume, spouses are there, or their spouses are there or not there. Okay. Immaterial. These two are the working people. Okay. Grandfather, dad. Okay. They have a son also. I mean, the father has a son. Okay. So grandson. Everybody, is investing into family. Taking care. They don't keep a record of, who is spending what or something like that. Hota hai na kabhi kabhi. Some families, they don't keep, like you give this much, I'll give this much. It's like just family income. That's all it goes. So in those cases, the first preference will always go to the parent. Again, though is the apple of, the grandparent's eye, still parent will get the first preference. Okay. Next, if the parents do not file a joint return together, the child is the qualifying child of the parent with whom the child lived for the longer period of time. Parent with whom the child lived for longer period of time. Okay. Husband and wife are like dishum. Not in good terms. And they're separate, or filed for divorce or something. Divorce ho gaya, or not divorce, because again it will be single, with dependent and all. They're not together for some reasons, or they are in different states. Some story you can imagine. Okay, the best would be, they're not in good terms, so they're away. They have not yet broken the marriage, and Chintu is like 1 month mummy, 1 month daddy, all in the nearby area, to the school they stay. One on the north side, one on the south side. Yeah. So what the law says is, the parent with whom the child lived for the longer period of time during the year, that person, can claim the child as a dependent. Next, if no parent can claim the child as a qualifying child, the child is treated as the qualifying child of the person who had the highest AGI. Okay. First thing is parent. Next thing is parent with whom the child lived for longer period of time. Next one is the person with whom the child lived and had the highest AGI for the year. Okay. So see this. If no parent can claim the child as a qualifying child, the child is treated as qualifying child of the person who had the highest AGI for the year. Getting it? The person who had the highest AGI for the year. Now, let's say another story we'll create. Yeah. So one we saw about the parent. Okay, first one. Second one also we have seen parent with whom the child lived for a longer period of time. Now third one is if no parent can claim the child as a qualifying child, child is treated as the qualifying child of the parent who had the highest AGI. Okay. Now let's say husband and wife are living in the same home only. Chintu is also with them. Husband is in one room, wife is in another room, and they're not talking to each other, but they talk to kid. Yeah, sometimes people behave like that. Yeah, happens. Chota mota jagda hote rehta hai. And then whatever they have to communicate to the spouse, they'll communicate to the kid. And this poor kid will become a sandwich in between. Things like that should happen, but only for minutes. Get it? Things like that should happen, but only for minutes, not for hours, not for days, not for months, not for years, because a life gets destroyed. Okay? It should be fun. It should be a memorable incident. That's all. It should not hurt anybody. Chalo. If no parent can claim the child as a qualifying child, because both of them are living with the child, and both of them are making money. Now, who will claim the child? Right? Now, who will claim the child? So, the law says the person who had the highest AGI. The law says the person who had the highest AGI for the year can claim the child. Clear? Concept is clear? Very, very interesting concepts. Very interesting concept. So, let's take a look at this example. Radha and her sister Isha live together. Their 7-year-old nephew Ram lived with his aunt all year. While Ram's mother was incarcerated, means imprisoned, in a maximum security prison. Okay, a maximum security prison. Okay. Radha's AGI is 18,600. Isha's AGI is 29,000. Ram is a qualifying child of both Radha and Isha because he meets the relationship, age, residency, and support test for both of his aunts. Okay. Okay, Ram lived with his two aunts, we can say. This was missing. Okay. With his two aunts all year. And support test for both of his aunts. However, Isha has the primary right to claim Ram as a qualified child because her AGI is higher than Radha's AGI. Okay. Her AGI is higher than Radha's AGI. See here, Radha and her sister Isha live together. Their 7-year-old nephew. Okay, so complete game change. Okay, there are two sisters. Okay, let's say husband wife died. Okay, and husband's two sisters are there who are taking care of Chintu, and forget that imprisoned and all, jail mein rehna or whatever. They are not there. So only these two attas, only these two aunts, they are taking care. Buas, or chachis, whatever, they're taking care. Now the point arises, who will claim the child? See, they can also go by mutual consent. Or you claim. Or they can go with higher AGI concept because they're not parents. Again, they're not parents. No, maa samaan hai, maa nahi hai. Okay? So, next. Karuna is single and has a 3-year-old. Karuna is single and has a 3-year-old son named Anil. They live with Karuna's father. Where is that? Karuna's father, Rakesh, the child's grandfather. Rakesh made 65,000 in wages during the year. Karuna made 19,000 in wages during the year, and she has a filing requirement. As the child's mother, Karuna has the primary right to claim Anil as her qualifying child, which means the child may not be the qualifying child of Rakesh, the grandfather. Okay, let me read it once again. Karuna is single and has a 3-year-old son named Anil. Single and has a son. Great. They live with Karuna's father, Rakesh, child's grandfather. I mean, single mother she is. Rakesh made 65,000. Karuna made 19,000. She has a filing requirement. As the child's mother, Karuna has the primary right to claim Anil as her qualifying child. Okay. As the child's mother, Karuna has the primary right to claim Anil as her qualifying child, which means the child may not be the qualifying child of Rakesh, the grandfather. Clear? Is it clear? Yeah. First case, 2 aunts, right? Aunties. He stayed with aunts all year. Okay. So because it's aunts, AGI, highest AGI. Then he's staying with mother, daddy, daughter, and daughter's son. Okay, Tata, Beti, and Beti ki Beti, Poti. So the first right will go to the parent, Beti, right? She can claim. Easy things, just एक बार देख लेना बस खत्म. Next, so big, no? Qualifying child. Wow. 19 pages went into qualifying child only. He's not Chintu, he's very big Bintu. Big two is. एक बार देख लेते हैं. We'll just complete it off, okay? आप भी break ले लेना. Wherever you feel, you're like tired, have to go for or something and all, you can go and come, pause the video, come back again, okay? But we are in a flow, okay? So don't stop. But you are in a flow, please go. Pause and go, okay? Fine. Let me come back. Yeah. Who are treated dependents and how to claim dependents? Okay, dependents 2 types: qualifying child, qualifying relative. And here 3 main tests are there. I mean, when you can call somebody dependent, these 3 things you must check: dependent taxpayer test, joint return test, US resident citizen test. Okay, you will see these tests again in the qualifying child, but still these 3 things you must keep it in mind. Taxpayer cannot claim anyone else as a dependent if he himself or herself is claimed as a dependent by another person. We saw an example there. Next, a taxpayer who is filing a joint return with somebody cannot be claimed as a dependent unless he is filing a return only to claim the tax refund. We saw an example there. Then the dependent must be a US citizen, resident alien or national, or a party or resident of Canada or Mexico. And for adopted child, the US citizenship or resident rules do not apply if they are legally adopted. Next one, dependents, 2 types: qualifying child, qualifying relative. And when it comes to qualifying child, there are 5 tests that we need to meet. Actually, this page was not necessary, I feel, because you have already covered it there. This might not be necessary. Then qualifying relative, 4 tests, but this is just a snapshot. They have given you so that when you are revising again, Panchatantra, 5 tests. Okay, 5 and 4. I told child 5, Amma 4, Papa 4, Tata TATA. Okay, 4. All this, bye 4. Don't get into details, ban and all. You don't ask me. Okay, whatever I got 4 letters, I told you. So, 5 tests for child, 4 tests for the relative. And now we study about qualifying child. Okay, so these are the 5 tests again, being revised. And relationship test, it applies to two. Okay, child, brother or sister. And again, in child, we saw own, step, adopted, grand, foster, and all. And then when it came to brother or sister, own, step, and half. And adopted child is treated same as natural child. And when it comes to age test, I told you, those 3 things: regular, under 19, full-time student, under 24, and somebody who is permanently and totally disabled. There is no age limit as such. Next, residency test. The person must have lived with the taxpayer for at least half of the year, and temporary absences are also considered as presence. Okay, especially for illness, education, business, vacation, or military, it's considered present. And a child who died during the taxpayer is also considered as living with the taxpayer all year. And even if the child lived only for a moment, the child was born and then the child died, even then you can claim the child on your tax return as if they lived for the entire year. Next, support test. The taxpayer has to pay for at least 50% of the dependent's living expenses. Next, in case child gets any social security benefits and the child is using it for himself or herself, then that cannot be called as parent support. That is child providing for himself or herself. Yeah. Next. For a full-time student, you must not take scholarships into account when calculating the support test. We have seen 2 examples there. Next one, joint return test. We discussed this already. Dependent must not be filing a joint return with somebody unless it is a claim for refund. And special test for qualifying child of more than one person. In case child can be claimed by more than one person, then you have to see if the person is a parent or you see with which parent the child has lived long, and AGI. And AGI. In case the person is not parent, then you have to look at the AGI. Pain and time. Okay. Here I just wanted to give this small acronym in this slide. Okay. We have this PTM, right? Parents teacher meeting. How many of you get scared? I get scared. My little one wow, she comes up with so many cute stories. How much she made us cry, that much she makes us laugh. So one day it so happened that the teacher asked, Shraddha, I told you you must not eat junk, not bring chips and all, and Maggie, all these things. So the teacher asked, why did you get Maggie again? I told you not to bring. What lie she said? She said, Mom, ma'am, actually my mom is pregnant, so she is not able to get up early in the morning, so the maid cooked Maggie for me, ma'am. Oh my god. Oh my, when my elder daughter went and when our family friend went to pick her up, oh my god, we were all like laughing, and when that person came and told us, like, we were like, I mean, so creatively she was lying, in the PTM, when ma'am called us and we were talking, ma'am was into laughter, we were into that. She was in UKG. Now she is going to first. So anyways, PTM. Okay. So what I meant to say here is P for parent. Okay. Tiebreaker rule. Let me write it. I just got it now. Okay. Yeah. PTM. Okay. And these acronyms are good actually. You should put this also somewhere. PTM. Where is that? PTM. Okay. So this is especially applicable for tiebreaker rules only. Okay, tiebreaker rules के लिए I'm giving you PTM. So P, I mean parent. First, parent can claim the child. Next one, T, you check the time with the parent whom he has spent a longer period of time. Focus on the time. With whom did he spend longer time? Okay, claim that. Then next one is money. AGI. Of course, that's a technical term, but it's money, right? So PTM. Parent, time, money. Okay. Parent, time, money. Parent, time, money. Just make a note of it somewhere. Why I tell you all these things? Because we don't have that much time in the examination. So you don't even know it's a tiebreaker rule question. So it's very important that you solve the MCQ in those Maggie minutes. So don't miss out on that. That's why I give you all these crappy acronyms and all. I didn't plan it earlier. My team was asking me, did you plan this thing? So it was like instant. It just came up. Just came up. So it makes me feel easy. So I feel you will also feel easy. Yeah. Chaliye. So that's tiebreaker rule. Okay, even I told about tie-in are 50 plus things to know about EA, right? Any course you want to study, people will come to you. Tomorrow, once you are successful, you will be. Yeah, you will make more money. You will fall into 30% tax bracket. Though you fall into 30% tax bracket, you will not pay that. You will do your own jugaad and all. Then people will come to you. They will ask you, Anna, Akka, how do I become like you? What do I study? Please guide me. Guide them about tie. Any course. I'm not telling about our 4 courses. Guide them about tie. Tell them. Any course you want to study, see what is the time it takes. T for time. I, what is the investment you have to make? E, what are the earnings you have to get? I come from a very lower middle class family. So my father's salary was 4,700 rupees in 2008. Now, for a family, elder son of that kind of a family, I cannot afford to sit 5 years, 3 years study. My father was a dementia patient, so I had to take care of things. We have some responsibilities, right? Each one of us have some responsibilities. So if you are at that stage of your life, go guns. Mehnat karo, acha mehnat karo. Just work hard. Whatever God has given you, be faithful in that. And be excellent. Boss tells you 5 things, do the 6th one also. It's not overaction. It means, going beyond your limits. Going beyond your limits. Even if you are an entrepreneur also, always under promise your customers, but over deliver. They will love it. Under promise, but over deliver. Okay. Chaliye, fine. I'll come back. Where am I? Okay, then we saw what? Okay, we saw these examples. Okay, so PTM, please remember PTM. Just try to add something there later. Okay, a small note or something. PTM, okay. Parents teacher meeting. So here it is parents, time, and money. Okay, especially for tiebreaker rules. Okay, yeah. Now, what are different types of qualifying relative tests? Okay, if you have understood qualifying child, this will become very easy. Okay, so 4 tests, same thing. Okay, not a qualifying child. First thing, they must not be your chintu or brother or sister. Then gross income, it has to be under a particular limit. Then support test, they have to provide the taxpayer has to provide the support to that person. Then member of household or relationship test. Okay, they must live with the taxpayer, and then that relationship test should also be satisfied. Next. So each of this, explanation is given here. Let's see. A child is not a qualifying relative if the child is the taxpayer's qualifying child or the qualifying child of any other taxpayer. A child is not a qualifying child if child is the taxpayer's qualifying child. See, if he is a qualifying child, then how can he be qualifying relative, right? Not possible then. Or the qualifying child of any other taxpayer. I mean, this is like too much, but you have understood. Yeah. Just taxpayer, if his taxpayer's qualifying child, then he is not qualifying relative. Are you getting it? Not. Remember this. So not a qualifying child. Okay. Not a qualifying child. Next one. Gross income. What is this gross income? Just keep it in the middle so that it's good. Yeah, next one is gross income. To meet this test, a person's gross income for the year must be less than 4,400. And again, here also, this is for 2022. Okay, if you are watching this next year, 2023 or something, don't panic. Jai Google. Okay, go to IRS. Just check that for yourself. I told you how to do that, right? Next. Now also you can check for 2023 and see what is the amount. Next. Gross income. What do you mean by gross income? Gross income is all income in the form of money, property and services that is not exempt from tax. Gross receipts from rental property are also gross income. Okay. Everything. Do not deduct taxes, repairs, etc. to determine the gross income from rental property. Gross income includes a partner share of the gross, not a share of the net. Gross itself means that, gross income, right? So that's what it means. Next. We see these lines coming somewhere. Okay, fine. So gross income means like gross salary. Okay, gross salary. So when you go for job, you talk about gross salary. But when you're going for appraisal, you will talk about net salary. Sir, after deductions, this is what. As I always say, wherever you're working, make sure you're working for a productivity linked payment plan. I urge you to have that kind of a payment plan, than having a fixed pay, because challenge your boss. This is your sales. Okay, we'll work on the sales, we'll work on the output, and what if the output is like that? So nothing wrong in doing that. Boss will also be delighted in you. So have that, productivity. Sir, are we salespeople? Who said you are salespeople? And who is not selling? That's the point. Who is not selling? Everybody sells. Everybody sells. You see all the hoardings outside. The hospitals also. Are they not selling medical services? You see any advertisement, just as a bahar jaake, you just see the road, hoardings and all. What's happening outside? They're selling. That's why they're doing marketing. So be the value seller there. Identify what is the need, create a product or service for that, and serve it with all your heart, and let it be the best in the industry, like what you're watching now. Next, gross income. Okay, member of household or relationship test. To meet this test, a person must either live with the taxpayer all year. Okay, live with the taxpayer all year as a member of the taxpayer's household, or Be the taxpayer child, stepchild, okay, eligible foster, all these, any of these relationships established through marriage, in-laws, even if the marriage ends in death or divorce, uncle, aunt, niece, and nephew. See, one interesting thing is in-laws. Even it's like, see, these things, I love these things. So let's say, husband and wife, they got divorced, but still, mm, wife is in good standing, with the husband's in-laws, and she takes care of them. This fellow abandoned and married another woman, ran away, but still, that husband's parents also, this girl is taking care. Awesome. IRS also says you are awesome. Awesome. You can claim them as dependents. Okay, that's what it says. In-laws, even if the marriage ends in divorce or death, right? Husband is gone, but even after that, she's taking care of his parents as her parents. Yeah. So all that. Okay. So member of household or relationship test. I mean, relative, you give any name, child, after a particular age, after 19 years, 24 years, and all that, he becomes a relative, right? Under 19, yeah, he's a qualifying child. Now after that, he'll become relative. So be the taxpayer's child, stepchild, eligible, any of these relationships. Okay. So that's your member of household or relationship test. Next one, support test. We read this yesterday also somewhere, no, in head of household somewhere. To meet this test, a taxpayer must provide more than half. Okay, what is that? More than half of a person's total support during the calendar year. The following items are included in support: food, clothing, education, transportation, recreation, medical and dental care, medical insurance, lodging, FMV of the room, apartment, or house in which the person lives, other similar necessities. Okay. Support test. Support test. Following items are included. Items not included. You can expect one question out of this, okay, on the support system. Important, okay. Items not included: federal, state, and local income taxes, okay, paid by persons from their own income. Okay. Social security and Medicare taxes, not included stuff I'm saying. Okay. Federal, state, and local income taxes, social security and Medicare taxes, then life insurance premiums, funeral expenses, you can't claim these. Okay. Scholarships, we discussed this. Then survivors and dependents, educational assistance payments. Okay. EA payments, you can say, educational assistance payments, used for support of the child who received them. Okay. So these things, keep it in mind. Let's take a look. Yeah, even I do yawn. It's a live class. I don't want to pause, go back, yawn, and then come. Just kidding. Okay. Taxes are a very boring subject, But we have made it colorful. We are making it humorous. We are making it a little emotional. Okay. Let's stay connected. Chalo. Qualifying relative, 4 tests, not a. Yeah, let me change the color. Let me go into a different tone. Yeah. Not a qualifying child, first thing, right? The person must not be a qualifying child. Next one, the gross income must be under a particular limit. A person must be a member of household. He must stay with the taxpayer and he must be related to that person. And support test. Here also, I feel, we should make it 5. 5 tests. Because 1, not a qualifying child test. 2, gross income. 3, support test. 4 is residence test. 5 is relationship test. So let's make it like that. Okay. let's make it into 5, okay, because member of household is like a residence test, the person where he is residing and all, okay. So make it like residence, okay. 5 tests there, 5 tests here, that will be better. Not a qualifying child, then gross income must be less than 4,400, then member of household or relationship test, okay. So probably or if you're okay with this, because sir you said amma and all, we're stuck there, okay fine, no problem, but just remember that, because member of household is more to do with residence. So if you're okay with this, let's stick to that, okay. Okay, it's good, let's stick to this, okay. 5 plus 4, the word letter dependent has 9 letters, D E P E N D E N T 9 letters, okay. So nine conditions, okay. Nine tests. So 5 tests in child, 4 tests in relative, okay. So dependent 9, remember like that, okay? But remember that in relative there are 2, okay. Relation in the house, okay, member of household, and then relationship test. Take care of that. We have only 2 minutes, that's why I'm telling you all this crap, okay. Chalo, and the support test, what's included in the support test. So not a qualifying child, income must be under 4,400, household or relationship test, then support test, then yeah, okay. In support, what is included, what is not included, it's mentioned here. If you are writing notes, I would say, make a table, put, rights, green rights on one side and put all wrongs on the other side. I mean, right and then wrong, right? So something like that. It'll make your notes, more beautiful. And trust me, your handwritten notes is the most beautiful. How much ever, this polishing I do, what you are writing with your own hands, that's the best notes. No, sir, you don't convince us. We are super busy people. Next to Modi, we are the most busiest people. Oh, no, that's absolutely fine. No problem. Chalo. What are the support tests for children of divorced or separated parents or parents who live apart? Seriously, when couple get divorced, we need to think of what will happen to these poor kids. They don't know why these fellows fought. I just asked them for ice cream, KFC. Why these fellows are fighting? And every member in the family is involved. Huh? What is this? They're not talking to me. So many things must be running in the kids' minds, no? Right? As much as possible, avoid such situations. Be happy. What are the support tests for children of divorced or separated parents or parents who live apart? When parents are divorced or separated, or when they live apart, special rules apply for determining which parent can claim a child as a dependent on their tax return. Okay, so there are some special rules that's applicable. Now, what are they? In general, the parent who has custody of the child for the greater part of the year is the one who can claim the child as a dependent. Custody, time again, PTM. Custody of the child for the greater part of the year. Custody of the child for greater part of the year. Next, however, there are some exceptions to this rule. Every rule has an exception, okay? Exceptions to this rule. The support test for children of divorced or separated parents or parents who live apart consists of the following rules. What is that? The child must have received more than half of their support for the year from their parents, okay? Child must have received support, must have received more than half of their support. First condition. Child must be in custody of one or more of parents for more than half of the year. That is okay, half of the year, and then custody, okay, with the child. Next one, the parents must be either divorced or legally separated under a decree, okay, or divorce or separate maintenance, or they must have lived apart for last 6 months of the year. The child must be under the age of 19 at the end of the year, or under the age of 20 if full-time student, for at least 5 months of the year, or permanently and totally disabled. The child must not have provided more than half of their own support for the year. Same, qualifying child tests only, but same rules. Okay, let's take a look at this. So only 2 pages. Let's try to understand. So what are the support tests? Because the support test will change for children of divorced or separated parents, okay, or parents who live apart. So what happens? Time. Who is the parent with whom the child spent most of the time? And then the other rules, child must have received more than 50% of the support, child must be in custody of one of the parents, then parents must be either divorced or legally separated or dishum and not being together for last 6 months, and child must satisfy the age test, child must not provide support for himself or herself. Okay, same. Put a separate question, but more or less it's the same condition. Once you understand the concept, it's the same. Next. What happens to the relationship after death or divorce? Okay, what is it? What happens to the relationship test? Relationship or relationship test? Relationship after death or divorce. Okay. Any relationship that is established by marriage does not end as a result of death or divorce. What a beautiful line it is. Huh? Any relationship that is established by marriage does not end as a result of death or divorce. Wow. Eternally married. That's why they say married in heaven. Again, after dying also will go to For example, if a taxpayer supports his mother-in-law, they can continue to claim her as a dependent if he and his spouse are divorced or become widowed. Right? We just read this, in the qualifying relative, in the relationship test. I told you, right? This one, member of household or relationship test. Husband is dead, but wife is still taking care of husband's parents. Awesome she is. I know such people, seriously. They could have married another man and begun their life, but they're still faithful to that love. What's wrong, sir? They have to live. I never said no. I'm just appreciating, that, faithfulness. So this piece, it is another question, but the concept is the same, what we learned from earlier. So what happens to a relationship? So, that's a wonderful thing. A relationship that is established by marriage does not end as a result of death or divorce. Okay. They may break as husband and wife, but not as in-laws. Okay. For example, if a taxpayer supports his mother-in-law, they can continue to claim her as a dependent if he and she are divorced and become widowed. Rupa and Karan have always financially supported Rupa's mother Lalita and claimed her as dependent on their jointly filed returns. 2 years ago, Rupa died and Karan became a widower. Karan later remarries, but he has continued to support his late wife's mother. This person, he wants the best of both the worlds. Wow. Just kidding. Okay. Karan can continue to claim his late wife's mother Lalita as a qualifying relative even though he has remarried. Clear? Yeah? Even though he has remarried. So Karan remarries. Rupa died. Okay, so she is a qualifying relative. Take a look. Okay, fine. Easy understanding. Yeah, good. Watch the video again if you don't understand. Watch the video again. That's all simple. Now, what are multiple support agreement? Okay, let's see. It is when two or more people jointly provide for a person's support. Karan Arjun. What's that movie? Diwar. मेरे पास माँ है, right? Two or more people jointly provide for a person's support. Jointly provide for a person's support. Blessed are those parents whose kids compete to serve them, to care for them. ये भी तू ही खरीदता क्या? This one also you will only buy. I'll buy them. I'll take them. I mean, you should compete there, you know. I spend this much, what you are spending. My students are unique. आप सब सूरज चांद हो. They're all good people. Take good care of parents, wife, kids, team, family. Good people. Chalo. Use Form 2120 Multiple Support Declaration to report a multiple support arrangement. Okay. Form 2120. We'll see this form, what it is. Family members together must pay more than 50% of the person's total support. It means providers. Family members mean providers. Must pay more than 50%. Same condition. Taxpayer who claims as dependent. A taxpayer who claims a dependent must provide more than 10% of the person's support. Only one family member can claim a dependent in a single year, but different family members can agree to claim the dependent in other years. Okay, so let's say there are 4 sons. Okay, 4 sons. So what the law says is family members together, 4 sons together must pay at least 50%. Okay, and each dependent must pay at least 10%. Okay, each dependent, each provider must pay at least 10%. So let's say there are 5 sons. Okay, the elder son pays 20%, second one 10%, third one 10%, fourth one 5%, fifth one 0. Something like that. Okay, now here is that more than 50% thing satisfied? No. As a family, are they paying more than 50%? No. Let's say first 2 sons pay 20%, third son pays 10%. Okay, and then the fourth son pays 5%. Yeah, as a family they're paying 50%. But here the taxpayer who claims a dependent must provide. So if there is anybody who want to, I will claim the mother, that person should have contributed at least 10%. Okay, so it means that the 5% guy doesn't qualify. Getting it? Only one family member can claim a dependent in a single year, but different family members can agree to claim the dependent in other years. Okay, so when a situation like this comes, just go by mutual agreement. I mean, practically speaking, rather than going into multiple support agreement and all, just go with mutual agreement. Okay, Anna, you want to claim? आपको claim करना है, claim. Go ahead. That's all. I mean, आप बड़े, you have taken care of us also. So if you're taking care of mom, you please claim her. Just go with the mutual agreement. Simple, baat khatam. No, I paid that. Then okay, come. Okay, how much you spend for amma? Daddy, this much you spent. Okay, I spent this much. Okay, what's the percentage of your expense? I spent 23.7%. Okay, how much did you spend? I spent 16.7%. Okay, you come to all the maths and make sure at the end all the sons, whosoever is providing for her. It need not be sons, it could be brothers, it could be granddad, or be a relative. Jobi comes in, whoever is not a qualifying child but is related by blood or by relation is a qualifying relative. That's it. Okay, let me show you that. Okay, there's an example that the team has given. You and your siblings, Sanjay, Bharat and Dinesh, provide the entire support of your parent for the year. Great. You provide 45%, Sanjay provide 35%, Bharat and Dinesh each provide 10%. Either you or Sanjay can claim your parent as a dependent. Okay. As a dependent. The one who doesn't must sign a statement agreeing not to claim your parent as a dependent. The one who claims your parent as a dependent must attach 2130 or a similar declaration to their return and must keep the statement signed by the other for their records. Because neither Bharat nor Dinesh provide more than 10% of the support, neither can claim your parent as a dependent and neither has to sign a statement. Okay. Let me just show you how that looks like. Form 2120. Identify each other eligible person who paid over 10% of the support of your qualifying relative whom you are claiming as a dependent and indicate that you have signed statement. Okay. So this is how a form 2120 looks like. Multiple support deduction. Okay, so you're making a statement that during the so and so the eligible person listed below I have paid over 10%. Over 10%, okay, of the support of so and so. Okay, I've signed a statement from each eligible person. So for those of you who feel that even in the Christian faith, some people they feel that I'm giving to God, so I need not give to parents and all that crap. See what the IRS is saying. Give to your parents more than 10%. Each paid over 10% of the support. So when you get into maths, it will be more dirty. So take care. Okay. You can go through the form in leisure. Okay. So here you provide 45%, Sanjay provides 35%. Okay. So only these people qualify to claim. Khatam baat. Okay, these fellows, Bharat and Dinesh, fellows in the sense, these brothers, okay, they provide only 10%, not more than 10%. They follow biblical principle. They feel we should not contribute more than 10%, so they contribute only 10%. But law says, twice you cannot claim. Okay, either you or Sanjay can claim. Sanjay can claim your parent as a dependent. The one who doesn't must sign a statement agreeing not to claim. Okay, not to claim, you have to sign an agreement, they say. The one who claims your parent as a dependent must attach form. The one who claims must attach form 2120 or a similar declaration to their return and must keep the statement signed by the other for their records. See, for their records. So it's not given to IRS for their records. Because neither Bharat or Dinesh provide more than 10% of them, neither can claim your parent as dependent. And neither has to sign a statement. Is this example clear? Just example 1. Okay, just example 1. Example 45, 35, 10 and 10. Take that in the next page. You liking these sessions? I'm loving it. I wish I was also taught like this. Not because I'm teaching, I'm saying this. I'm loving the way we are studying. I'm also studying, trust me, I'm also studying. I'm also learning, getting to learn so many things. In practice, not all are important. But when it comes to examination, many things are important. Chalo. Example 2. You and your sibling each provide 20% of your parent support for the year. Okay. The remaining 60% of your parent support is provided equally by two persons who are unrelated. Your parent doesn't live with them. Because more than half of your parent support is provided by persons who can't claim your parent as a dependent, no one can claim your parent as a dependent. Wow. Getting it? You and your sibling each provide 20%. Means 40%. The remaining 60% is provided by two persons who are unrelated. By two persons who are unrelated. Your parent doesn't live with them. You and your sibling each provide 20%. Remaining 60% is provided to two people, 30-30 each. Parent doesn't live with them. Now, what is the rule? Family members should contribute more than 50%. Family members. So here it is other way around. Outsiders are contributing 60%. So, because they are not related, they cannot claim. Okay. So quickly we'll try to revise. Oh wow, today we have done so much. Okay. So before we close, let's do a quick revision of what we have done. So we began with dependents. I've been revising in between also, just a quick snapshot. So these three tests must be taken care of: dependent, joint return test, US resident, dependent taxpayer test. If he is being claimed as dependent by somebody, he cannot claim anybody as dependent. Joint return. If he is filing a joint return with somebody, then he cannot be claimed as a dependent unless he is filing a return only to claim the refund. Then resident or citizenship test. You must be a resident or citizen, or you must have resided at least part year in Canada or Mexico. And if you are an adopted child, these rules do not apply to you, US citizen or residentship. Then dependents are of two types: qualifying child or qualifying relative. And when it comes to qualifying child, there are 5 tests that needs to be met. Okay. And starting with relationship test, it applies to child, brother or sister. Child, 5 types: own, step, adopted, grand and foster. Brother, own, step, half. Next, and adopted child is always treated at par, as a birth. What is that? Where did I go? Adopted child is treated the same as a natural child. Next, age test. Remember those 3 things: under 19, under 24, and then no age limit. Residency test. The person should have lived with the taxpayer for more than half of the year. A child is considered to have lived with the taxpayer even in case of temporary absences, and a child who has died during the year also is considered as somebody who has lived with the taxpayer. And then support test, the taxpayer has to pay for at least 50% of the dependent's living expenses. Don't miss out on that. And if child has paid for himself or herself through social security benefits, even then it cannot be considered as paid by parents, because that's the kid's own contribution. And then don't include the scholarships anywhere. Then the child cannot file a joint return. Same thing, joint return test we have seen. Next one, special test for qualifying child of more than one person. Tiebreaker rules, I told you PTM. Remember, that child can be first claimed by the parent. Then based on time, the one who has more number of with the child, the one with whom the child has lived longer, that person can claim. And then last one, M, money. If he is not a parent, then the person who has invested more, who has the highest AGI, that person will be entitled to claim the dependent. Then we saw some examples. Then we went to qualifying relative, 4 or 5. I said, dependent 4 letters. So dependents 10 letters, up to you. Okay, 5 plus 4 9, or 5 plus 5 10. Okay, that's up to you. Whatever makes it easy for you, understand the concept in that way. He must not be a qualifying child. Income must be less than 4,400, and he must be a member of household. He must live with the taxpayer all year, and he must be a relative of the taxpayer. And the taxpayer must pay for more than 50% of the dependent's living expenses. That piece must be taken care of. And we have seen what expenses include, what is not included there, and what else. Then we saw what is the support system conditions for children of divorced or separated parents, or parents who live apart. So here again the same rules. The one who has the custody, the one with whom the child has lived for a greater period of time, that person. And child must have received more than half of their support. Child must be in the custody of one or both of the parents. Parents must have undergone divorce, and child must meet the age test, and child should not have provided support for himself or herself. Then what happens to the relationship after death or divorce? Any relationship that is established by marriage doesn't end as a result of death or divorce. So in case the person is taking care of the in-laws even after the death or divorce, still that person can claim as a dependent. And we have seen an example also. And then we went on to see multiple support agreements, wherein it says that family members must pay for 50% of the person's total support, and each person should have paid at least 10%. Okay, and we have seen some examples there, and with that we close. Okay, so it was an amazing session today, and you should give yourself a wonderful round of applause, because you have spent good like 3 hours. In case you have not taken break, and if you have been with me together and you were watching this, kudos to you. You did an awesome job, and I just can't wait to see you as an enrolled agent. Okay, keep rocking, and looking forward to many more interesting classes with you. Take care.